Good morning, teacher and classmate. Today I'm gonna talk about what I learned in the subject Applied Linguistics. Well, I finished my degree 2 years ago, and with this subject I could remember my fourth semester because I took a similar subject, but its name was different. Its name was Teaching Language Methods, and I learned a bit of them. In that time, I remember that we saw direct method, silent way, CLIL, and others. I consider that know about the history or process that took to get or can know how language teaching has changed, especially if we want to be good teachers or if we want to do a good job as language teachers. We need to know about them, but since the background. First, I need to accept that I didn't know the difference between a method, an approach, and a technique. I all the time thought that they was the same or they was synonyms. So with the first chapter, after I read, I can understood better. So I think it's very important this part in which language teachers have a clear meaning of each one. Now I know that each one of them, despite they are similar, and for that reason we used to confuse them, they have different purposes or intentions. Well, on the other hand, I could remember the different ways in which language is learning, especially a second language can be acquired, for example, in children or in adults. On children, the language learning is more natural. It can be through the play, practice it in a relaxed environment. Even they can learn without release, they are doing it. On the contrary, with the adults, at the moment that they are learning a foreign language, they deal with stress, anxiety, and it is because methods and techniques of teaching are more formal. And I don't mean that the word formal is a meaning of boring. I mean that they are awareness, that they are learning something, and they need different techniques, different methods, and different materials. You can not teach a language in the same way that you teach with children, with an adult. They are totally different. Well, I think that that's all with the last chapter, and in the second part, in which we talk about the different methods that are in language teaching, I think that is a controversial topic because of the different methods, approaches, and techniques that are used. I think that are many opinions about which one are better or not. For example, in the text, there are many authors who have created to improve teaching language methods, and I consider that it have been depending on the learning necessities. These methods have functioned with defined because of they are focused with differentiator materials and learner-teacher roles, and I think that it is an important part, learner-teacher's roles and the necessities that it has presented around the time. For example, the TPR are focused on physical responses to match some commands with the LE, thus to produce a learning in gradual way. But nevertheless, it's only used in basic levels of language teaching. So you cannot use all the time TPR with, for example, adults who are trying to learn a foreign language. We as teachers cannot use one teaching method with all students who we work because of we have to consider their necessities, feelings, attitudes, and learning styles. If you focus in one method to teach a foreign language, it could be counterproductive and make you not get desired results, and it is entailed to frustration, learners, and the rejection of language to want to learn a foreign language can arise. In my own experience as English teacher, I can say that it's essential to create different environments and sense inside of the classroom to learning flow the most natural, comfortable, and meaningful way possible. In this chapter, for example, before I were in this master, I all the time thought that you as a teacher just have to focus in one uh, teaching method, but I always say you cannot do that because learners are boring easily. So when I do my lesson plan, I just try to, for example, modal verbs. I don't know, and I just use one technique or one method, because if I start to use another one, I thought that I was doing a bad work. But I'm talking about my first years as language teacher, and I thought that, but now I'm sure that I can use many methods or a mix of these methods to try to teach a language in a better way. Now, if I talk about the last chapter that I read, uh, in this chapter I learned that the changes that have the method to approach and then teaching style. And something that is completely true is that a method uh, is not worried about the feelings of a student, the context in which they learned, or the context in which they live. The method is worried only for in the way that the learner learn, and the things that you as a teacher have to do that to achieve that learning. But it is worried about just like that. But now we talk about teaching style, and this teaching style is more worried about the context of the student and also the context of the teacher. And I think that it's very important that teaching style now is worried about not just for the context of the learner, it is worried including the teaching context or teacher's context. And we have to realize that many times teachers not count with all the material that we need. And for example, many schools don't have all the resources that we would like to work, because I don't know, they don't have enough money, or students don't have uh, the materials or all the materials because they have a big family, or I don't know. And in this part is when we need to adapt to the context, to the materials, to the environment, and we need to work with the things that we have, and also we need to to do the work in the better way that we can, because many times we don't have all the things. For example, internet, I don't know, flashcards, a printer, a projector, but all the time we are trying to work with the resources that we have, or that the resources that the school provides us. And well, I think that that's all that I can remember, or the knowledge that I can rescue in this subject. And thank you very much, and see you.